My name is Cherno. Welcome back to another Cherno live stream. We are back at it again with the renderer, obviously. That's what we're working on. I've got some nice tea with me. That's nice. I like the coffee in the morning and then the tea for the live stream, you know. Okay, so, yeah, we're just gonna get like right into some work, I think, because we basically we got pretty far last time. Actually, we did pretty well on Monday, a couple days ago, in the evening. We actually managed to do an actual commit, and our little renderer 2025 branch now compiles. So we finally pushed something to the branch, which is great, because we didn't for ages. So those of you who do have access to Hazel, you can actually check it out and see if it builds. And it doesn't do much, but it does build. So now we're kind of going through, and we decided, I think, at the end of the last stream, that like the first thing we're focusing on is ImGui. We want to get like Hazelnut, the editor, working with all of the UI, minus the actual rendered scene in Hazel. And so, but then also, rather than just kind of removing every code path that goes through renderer related things that will end up not working because we haven't like changed it yet, we're going to basically fill in those things that we encounter along the way and port them as much as we can, maybe to NVRHI, without just like kind of fudging everything and getting it to just run. I think that's what we basically decided at the end of last stream. Okay, we got a big question here. Forgive me if I'm ignorant on this. Hazel is marketed as a 3D engine, but will it support the development of 2D games? Also, will the engine include tools for development to different devices or OSs, or will that be up to the devs? Okay, so Hazel, so 2D games, we haven't really thought about it too much, I think, like, because our focus is to make Hazel a 3D engine, as it already is. So, you know, whenever you have a 3D engine, you can make 2D games with it, obviously. It's much harder to do the other way around. The difference with a dedicated 2D engine is just the tools that it provides for you to be able to do that. So for example, like all the UI in Hazel is kind of like, you can get it to, you know, appear like 2D, but it's still all 3D. And same with text. That's all like kind of 3D inside Hazel's viewport, because the difference between 2D and 3D is actually very, very small when it comes to how it flows through the render APIs, right? So the difference there, like you're still drawing triangles usually in 2D. I mean, you might have other effects, or like, you are always drawing triangles, but you might have like sprites that are drawn as geometry versus not. Obviously things like text, usually that's also kind of a form of 2D rendering. The difference is like whether or not we provide dedicated tools for that, like, you know, tile managers, or like, you know, sprite, you know, kind of sprite sheet tools or whatever. And we don't provide those out of the box, but it's probably pretty easy to adapt it to that. But that being said, our focus isn't that. So the team's not going to be working on that in terms of like the release. The release is just going to support like 3D, right? And then in the future, like I don't think it's that hard to necessarily add those 2D tools. And obviously, like, you know, usually you'd render 2D like with different shaders and all of that, like we will support. So you could definitely get something up and running if you wanted to. Or you could do like a 3D kind of form of 2D, right? Where you have 2D kind of in terms of like everything's rendered as a quad with like a textured quad that's always facing the camera, but you can spread them out with a perspective projection in like Z space so that you can get like parallax, you know, like the parallax scrolling effect, where things in the distance move slower than things in the foreground. You can get that naturally by just using a perspective projection camera, and then obviously spacing stuff out in like a 3D world, but it's 2D. So there's so many different ways to do like 2D. But if you're talking about like pixel per pixel kind of 2D, like it's kind of like a pixel art thing and you're rendering stuff per pixel, like that's definitely not something we'll do. Honestly, if you were doing that, I would just write my own engine. But Hazel's not going to be like a pixel kind of per pixel kind of 2D engine. Whereas, yeah, 2D kind of 2.5D, we'll say. Yeah, that we do want to support. So something like Hollow Knight, for example. Like Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games, I think, of all time. That was made in Unity, and that is, again, it's made in a 3D engine, and it's kind of made, I mean, I'm sure it uses some of their 2D tools, but in terms of like the way the map, the levels and everything are spread out, they're spread out in 3D space, right? So stuff like that, I think Hazel will natively support. But then if you're talking about real 2D, then no. And then the other one was, will it include tools for deployment to different devices? So we are not supporting mobile, like at all. Like that's a decision I made basically in the beginning. Because first of all, it's a lot of work. And second of all, I spent most of my professional career working on EA's mobile engine before we like moved on to Frostbite. So I am sick of mobile. I don't know, like obviously it's changed now, I guess, because last time I worked on mobile was probably 7 years ago. But I basically was like, I don't want to work on mobile. Anything mobile related, no. Like it kind of almost gives me like some PTSD to an extent. But also, I personally don't care about mobile games that much, right? Like for me, like Hazel in a way is also an engine that I would like to use to make a game. And in no plans do I don't have any plans to make that a mobile game, right? On a Nintendo Switch or a Steam Deck, like, yeah, sure, but not on a phone. So because of that, like, we don't support mobile, and that's not something we have the resources or the desire to do at all. But in terms of operating systems, like Hazel at the moment supports Windows and Linux, both for runtime deployment as well as development, meaning you can use Hazelnut and you can make games like on Linux. So we support Windows and Linux at the moment. We do, I think it has run before on macOS, like using Molten VK for the rendering to like translate the Vulkan to metal and stuff. But Mac we will also support. We'll definitely try and support macOS for the release of Hazel, which is kind of what we're working towards. And then in the future, yeah, like I would love to support like the Nintendo Switch, for example. I don't know about like consoles, like PlayStation and Xbox, because that's a decent undertaking, and I don't know if there would be much of a market for that. Like, as in, I don't know if any of you guys would really like to necessarily make games with Hazel that you intend to ship on those platforms. Me personally, like, I would probably ship my game on Windows, Mac, Linux, which I guess would include the Steam Deck, for example, and then also the Nintendo Switch would probably be a good platform for the kind of game that I'm making as well. But Xbox and PlayStation might not be worth it. But anyway, we'll see. Like if the game, like hypothetically, if I release a game and then I'm like, oh, this is good, like people like this, it'd be good to port it to PlayStation or Xbox, then obviously, assuming we can get our hands on like the dev kits and stuff, then we can have a go at that. But again, that's all going to be NDA stuff that I don't know if people will see unless they sign like a license agreement or anyway, it's a little bit complicated with consoles. So that's, yeah. What put you away from doing mobile? I just explained that. Basically that I did it in the past. Or maybe you're asking like why I didn't like it in the past. Well, yeah, it's not that it's it's not the resource restricted environment isn't really it. It's just the fact that like I personally don't play mobile games, right? So for me, it's like a platform that I don't really care about. Like of course, like I play little games on. No, actually, my most played game on my phone at the moment is chess. But aside from that, like yeah, like little like Bejeweled style games or whatever. Like I did play, but anything serious, anything 3D, like I don't play games like that on mobile. And so because of that, like first and foremost, it's just, I'm just not interested in it, and I'm not interested in developing a game for it. So it's very hard for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna support this entirely new platform, like multiple platforms, iOS and Android, that are quite complicated to support. First of all, like they're not that easy. And also I'm doing this for like, not for me, like I'm not doing it for games that I would ever make. So that's obviously like if we had the resources hypothetically to do it, and if, let's just say Hazel is a successful engine and people are like, oh, please add mobile, I would love to make mobile games with it, then maybe. But because we do not have the resources, like we can barely you know, make an engine on Windows, you know, then and it takes long, then obviously it's just not something that happens. But yeah, in terms of what else put me away from mobile, yeah, it's just like the whole, like, I mean, this is a similar process with like deploying on consoles, but deploying on mobile is very annoying. Android was just horrific back in the day. Again, this is like 2015 to 2018 probably is when I really worked on mobile. So that was like 4 years there. And the issue, like, I mean, I was in and out of actually working on mobile because a lot of the time I spent working on Windows tools that we used instead, and also refining the Windows runtime. And I also added macOS support to the engine as well, actually. I completely forgot about that. So that stuff was like, yeah, I just remember like Samsung had to send us devices that were theoretically debuggable because the normal like S7, S6, those are the phones that I used to work with. S5 even, like those phones, like you just could not debug on. So they had to send us special debug ones, and then they just didn't like work half the time. And like, I just remember I'm like trying to get something working on Android. Like, you know, I think we mostly used NVIDIA's like, was it Tegra or something? Tegra Android. They had a plugin for Visual Studio, which did all this Android dev stuff. I think now Visual Studio kind of supports Android, but it didn't back then. And so I just remember trying to get stuff like deployed and then like get the asset packs or whatever for the games deployed. And it's kind of like, I just want to run this, and it's taken me like the whole day. And debugging as well is an issue. Like that was a huge issue. iOS was much better, but the problem with that is that obviously you had to deploy it from, so we all basically, the engine team at EA, like we all had, like I think I had 2 to 3 monitors. Sometimes I had 3 monitors, sometimes I had 2, like I kind of switched my setup around a bit, but I had like, let's just say 2 monitors, and then I had an iMac, because I needed the iMac so that I could deploy on iOS. And so that was like way less painful, but it was painful because it was Xcode, and Xcode on an iMac would actually take about half an hour for a clean build. And then, you know, the iteration time is really what got me. Like, but the tools were good. Like the debugging worked better, way better than Android. The especially once Metal was introduced, which was like, I think the iPhone 5S, if I'm correct, or 5? No, maybe, I think 5S. I remember the switch. I remember the switch where we were like, oh, we can ship our games on Metal now instead of on OpenGL. Yes. Glez. Oh, this is bringing back so many memories. But anyway, once we had an iPhone 5S and above, I think, with Metal, the debugging tools, like we could do frame captures in Xcode and stuff, and it was great. Like it worked so much better than stupid Android devices. So, yes. When I worked, Chewy Gumball saying, when I've worked on mobile before, the hardware was just horrifically bad. They say they met some spec, but they did not. Yep, that's true. I can relate to that. But they, so there was just a ton of working around specific device flaws. Yeah, and the thing is, we had Samsung driver engineers in our office, you know, because obviously EA, like major company. So we had a lot of connections, and we literally had people. Because the thing is, I was working there when Vulkan came out. Like when Vulkan was, no, before Vulkan came out, when Vulkan was like in beta kind of, was not officially released, nothing had shipped on Vulkan yet, and we were trying to get stuff to ship on Vulkan. So that was obviously like required a lot of close contact between like the GPU driver engineers and us and all of that stuff, and they literally flew some Samsung engineers that were sitting at our desk. And the thing is, they were like fixing driver bugs basically. Because there was like, I remember bugs in Vulkan where you'd do something wrong and it would actually restart the device. Because obviously it was still work in progress and not really safe yet. And I just remember the iteration for them also was so bad that every time I think he wanted to access Samsung's drivers, like I think he had to either call someone at Samsung HQ, or he had like this USB with him that basically, I don't know, he had something with him where if he stepped away from his laptop, the laptop would like auto lock or something. I don't know if it was like some proximity detector. Anyway, it was like locked down, man. Like their security was, you'd think that it was like some sort of military operation or something. It was like insane. And so even with the guy here, and then after a week of him being there, we got another guy because this guy was not working out. Like he just could not do anything. I don't know if they expected that he would come and then he'd just be like, oh yeah, like everything's working anyway. These guys must have been pressing the wrong shortcut. Or like, I don't know what they expected because we were like, no. There's actually issues with this. Like we are in fact doing everything correctly. This isn't working. It's got to be on the driver end. So anyway, I think that was in I want to say that was 2015. It could have been, probably more like 2016. Maybe second half of 2015. Because I remember, like, we moved downstairs from a place where we were, but we were still in the old building, because then we moved to an entirely new building in the city. So yeah, it was pretty fun times, you know. And then yeah, and I'm pretty sure that like the Samsung engineers also couldn't help us with like devices not being debuggable, so they had to like mail us new special devices. Like literally, I apparently it wasn't even like a software thing that they could just like flip on for that device ID to make it debuggable remotely. They had to actually send us a phone, I think, that was like really top secret because it was debuggable. Anyway, comedy, like absolute rubbish. Like, and the thing is, I went through setting up Android support for an engine from the ground. So Sparky, my little engine back in the day, that supported Android. So I painfully went through the process. I mean, of course, that engine was nothing compared to Hazel. Hazel's like more or less a real engine. Sparky was like a little toy project. But I did get Sparky working like on Android back in like 2016, back before presumably the tools are better almost 10 years later. I actually don't know, and you know what? I'm happy to not know. I am happy to remain ignorant on mobile development for probably the rest of my life. So I've had enough. I've been satiated with mobile development. That's why I'm so keen to just make a PC engine and stuff. And then obviously like moving to Frostbite and whatever was like also an issue because of how ridiculously complex. And I think what did I do? Like Frostbite, from memory, I'd have to probably think about this a bit more. But I think Frostbite was something like twice the amount of lines of code of Unreal Engine, as Unreal Engine. So like it was, you know, that's not a great indicator of scale, but obviously like the scale of Frostbite is huge because you've got, you know, all these major EA studios which make very different games, like everything from EA Sports stuff, like Madden and FIFA, to like Need for Speed, to Battlefield, to Dragon Age or whatever, to that Anthem game, which was terrible, which I never played. But anyway, there was so much going on, and so I basically like took one look at that life. Well, not one look, I mean, it was like a year, but I took a hard look at the Frostbite life and like the working at that scale with that bureaucracy. And I was like, nah, I'm out. Like, that's not, I'd rather build my own stuff. Which of course I was fortunate to have the opportunity to do. Not everyone can do that. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for caring about my projects, guys, because you're really the people who make this possible. Otherwise I'd still be probably at EA. Wonder what that would be. Yeah, like, I mean, people I worked with obviously are still, the majority are still there. I mean, look, it was a great place to work, but the work itself was getting a little bit, not my cup of tea, so to speak, which is relevant because I'm drinking tea. Which unfortunately is getting a bit cold. All right, anyway, guys, let's, that's the chat. That's the hanging out with Cherno for the day. So you guys can check that off of your list of tasks for the day. And now we're gonna actually do some work. So yeah, if I hit F5, I believe this runs. Yeah, it compiles and it runs. And this is all being created with the new everything. And I think it even maximizes the window, which is cool. We are running debug, which is why it takes a little bit. And then we get like we get a few NVRHI errors to do with like textures and texture states, because we haven't cared about that at all. We need to make sure that we actually begin tracking texture states using NVRHI properly, but we'll explore that later. It's completely not important for now. That's just because I was skimming through stuff, and that's also an easy fix. So now we run into our first kind of assert, which is basically just this is assert like as verify false. The reason why is because this function obviously is not implemented, and it probably needs to be. So image2d copy to host buffer. What that does is it basically says grab this image from the GPU, all the pixels that are on the GPU, all the data, and copy it to a CPU side buffer. This is used, to be honest, I don't know exactly why this is used in this code path, so we can have a look at the call stack and see. So you can see, okay, so the animation graph, if we have a look at the call stack, which is kind of juicy and big, you can see the animation graph, I think, tries to probably compile. It's probably trying to compile, yeah, there it is, compile graph. So the animation system is trying to compile the graph. And so one of the nodes, I guess, requires like a skeleton. And to get the skeleton, it's probably trying to load the mesh, which it is. The mesh source is being loaded. And then that's using async at the moment because we're on the editor side. We're not on the runtime side where we already have a Hazel mesh, like a Hazel runtime format mesh. And then as part of importing, it also reads the materials associated with the mesh. So first of all, this is a little bit annoying because I feel like reading the skeleton shouldn't actually involve loading the entire mesh, including all of its materials and textures. So that's one thing to just take note of. But even though like we're gonna have to, obviously it's gonna have to load the mesh eventually anyway to render it. So we'll ignore that for now. So set albedo map, I guess, is trying to create a texture from sRGB. And then that requires, what, reading the existing texture? Anyway, let's have a look at set albedo map. So, and I'll try and make some more room here. So set albedo map, basically, I guess it does this, and then texture sRGB, handle +1. This is the weird thing, yeah, 0x added this. It's like, I think we store either both textures. Yeah, we have a linear version of the texture and we have an sRGB version. I'm trying to remember why though. But anyway, so we do texture create from sRGB. So this is the normal texture. Because if that doesn't exist, this is kind of bizarre. But I don't know, I think I have to revisit this. I just don't remember why this is the way that it is, and that's a bit concerning. But I should probably have a little section of notes somewhere. But basically we try and, I guess if it doesn't find the linear version, it tries to get the sRGB version, which is not like, it's kind of at the same handle. This is a bit of a hack. And then if it does find that, then it's going to, effectively, it looks like it's copying it. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. But why would we, because it's already got it. So why are we doing create from sRGB? Doesn't that asset already exist? Because this, it's like, yeah, and then it's doing handle +1. This is so weird. Like, doesn't it already have it though? Like, why would we recreate it? And is this, well, this doesn't say that the format is sRGB. You can see the format here is, if you can see that, which is hard to see, but the format is RGBA. Whereas I'm guessing this sets the format to sRGBA. So that does seem different, and that's, I guess, why it has to get this to work. I guess we can probably just implement this function though. I don't think it'll be that hard. Well, actually, it does. What does it do with the MIPS though? Yeah, this is going to be slightly annoying to do, I think, because what does it do with the MIPS? Let me just have a quick read. GPU to CPU. And then we do sub. I mean, I guess we can probably keep most of this. Like, as in, we can translate it to NVRHI, but I don't think we need to change much. And these barriers hopefully will happen automatically. And where is it putting it in here? So it's going through MIP count. And then it's putting it MIP data offset, MIP data size. Yeah, so it just has them all packed together, interestingly. Yeah, okay. Sure. Well, let's go through this then, and we'll try and make this work. So, where do we have an example of this somewhere? I mean, we have... If we just go maybe to... We are already in image. I'm just trying to find where we do, like, uploads of images, because this is similar. Maybe it's even in texture. Do we have like a set data? Yeah. I mean, this does right. Well, yeah, I mean, this was basically what I was looking for. I just wanted to copy some boilerplate and then get started. So this is probably just like, is it mhandle or minfo dot image handle? Okay, so instead of write texture, let's just have a look at what we have here. Copy texture. We've got all these slices and MIPs, presumably. Texture slices probably, yeah, MIP and array slice, array level layer. So this just copies, I guess this copies it to where? To destination. From a staging texture. What is a staging texture? Like, why is it called that? What's the difference? Staging texture. I guess it's just, yeah, it's similar. It doesn't have a view though. I guess it's intended to be used for staging. Copy buffer. So what were we doing? Were we doing copy image or copy buffer? Copy image to buffer. Okay. Now we could copy it to this staging texture. Should I just have a look at maybe copy image to buffer? Yeah, that's not done anywhere here. We do copy image and stuff. Copy image. No, I just wanted... the current project. So staging texture does copy image to buffer in copy texture. Ah. Destination buffer though. Source image. Okay, so copy texture to staging texture. I guess maybe that's the difference. Maybe staging texture has a buffer, whereas texture has an image. Maybe that's the difference, which would make sense. Yes, we are still using ImGui. Always. So this looks promising, this copy texture function with staging texture as a destination. And then so how would we make, so this staging texture destination has this. And then we get a get slice region of it. I just wonder if this will end up working. But clearly it has a buffer, so that's important. So let's go to image I guess we have to make, I mean, as you can see, we kind of did that though. We created a staging buffer here. I mean, it wasn't an image, but I think that's what a staging texture in NVRHI seems to be. It seems to be just a buffer. So I guess we'd need to do that, and then we would do copy texture, and then we'd put that into a staging texture. So how do we make a staging texture? Let's have a look at what is it? ImGui renderer. Because I think do we make it for a font? Texture, do we make a staging texture for fonts? Or no, we don't. We just write the pixels in. Well, I'm guessing we would just do device create staging texture or something, right? You'd assume. So device create staging texture, texture description. Yeah, the whole point of this, by the way, is just to get the texture from, because it's in GPU only memory, and we need to get it onto the CPU so we can read it into this CPU side buffer. So therefore we need to kind of write some Vulkan code to basically copy it from a GPU only texture to a CPU accessible buffer. So we just need to read, I guess. And then what is this? Just a texture description. Yeah, so we would have to fill in, I guess I could write this like this. How did I do it in, I just want to see, I'll follow the same thing. Okay, I used auto as well. I guess that makes it a bit cleaner because the rest of it's there. And then, yeah, just one tab. So set width. Height. What else do we have here? MIP levels, array size. I mean, where do we set this up though? I guess we did it here. Hopefully that's correct. I think this is probably always one, unless it means, what is array size? Like, would that be the layers? What is depth the layers? Depth would be for a 3D texture though. I'm assuming that array might be for, yeah, because you wouldn't have an array of textures within a texture. So it's probably that. Oh, dimension's important. So this is a texture 2D. Oh, and is there a format? There's gotta be, right? So we'll do format first. So that'll be format, and we can do utils NVRHI format. I don't know if I like doing stuff this way versus this way. You know, what do you guys think? Do you like this, the kind of, you know, this way of doing things where you just like pile on a whole bunch of stuff and you make like this huge thing? Or do you like setting variables individually like this? I feel like I still prefer this, to be honest. It doesn't really take up more space. And that way, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm fine with either, but I've been a bit inconsistent. Like in Vertex Buffer, I did it, but then up here I didn't. So the chaining, I don't know. You like the chaining more? I think I prefer setting variables individually. And you like that. Sure, that's probably my least favorite one, Philip. Okay, so so we create a staging texture, which I guess is here, and then we copy texture to that. Then we need a destination slice and a source slice. So this is what's going to kind of happen in the for loop anyway. And I don't know if I've set everything yet, but we'll see. So what was that again? That was texture slice. Yeah, see, so I could set it like that, or I could do the thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just like setting stuff like this. Obviously, it's because it's public, it's just a struct. They've got all this public. You can do anything. And they do have this for you if you want to do that, but yeah. I just feel like this is easier to work with, and I don't have to fight the formatting with it. You know, every time I do like dot or whatever, it drags it back, and then I gotta like tab it over, and it's just a bit annoying. This is a bit more vanilla, I feel. Whereas that's a bit more modern, the chaining thing. Chaining looks more readable. Yeah, maybe you're right, just because the colors are the same here, and then this kind of, yeah, is a bit easier because of the colors. But it's like, it's not too much shorter or anything. And then this set is a bit redundant. I mean, that's clear by the equals. Maybe if you aligned it as well, it would be nicer. Do I have to set the depth? I guess I do. To like 1. Okay, so MIP. So this is where we're going to have to go through each MIP, right? We've got a MIP data offset, which we might not need. I don't think we'll need that. I think it does that for us. And what's MIP count? Like, why is that not just... Does it get it from somewhere else? MIP count is just 1. What? I thought we had to go through each MIP. I mean, that's what this looks like it's doing. How is MIP count 1? What? That doesn't make any sense. That's really weird. Okay, let's just continue. I guess we'll do this for now. Oh, and there's width and height for per MIP as well. Because we've generated that many MIPs here anyway, so it's got room for them. And then I guess we would do texture slice in here. And then we need the source texture, which would, I guess, just be, and then there's a source slice, which is going to be identical. So this would just be info.imageHandle. And then, yeah, texture slice is the same, I guess. And that's it. So we just do this, and the idea is you obviously change the MIP. So MIP count, I don't know. Like, obviously we could, I'll keep that as that for now, just in case we have to toggle it, but otherwise this maybe would be specification MIPs. MIPOs. Make the camera A little bit less bright. I've got finals tomorrow and it's 2 a.m. But hey, whenever Cherno is live, you know I gotta come hang out. You should probably get some sleep. I would get some sleep if I was you. Finals sound important. It's okay. You can always watch this like on YouTube, like in a couple of days. On the Cherno Unplugged channel, because I need to put them all there if Twitch stops erroring when I try and export them. Okay, obviously we did the command list open like before we do that. So this is it? Like really? I mean, obviously we don't have to worry about image memory barriers. Layer count 1, depth 1. But how does the texture slice though? It's supposed to, oh, it has a MIP level. Does it have the amount of MIPs that we want? Ah, this is specifically a single MIP level plus a single slice of texture. Okay, well then yeah, we don't have a range that we do at once. So is that really it? I mean, depth, what's X, Y, and Z? That does not have a setter. Oh, set origin. Well, it's 0 by default. This is -1 by default. -1 means the entire dimension is part of the region. Well, then we don't have to set it. And then MIP level, we do set. So that's kind of it. You don't really need to set much for texture slice. You just change the MIP. So yeah, that might work. That might not work. Who knows? I'll keep the old code because it's funny how the old code was like 300 lines or 200 lines or something, and then this is just like 50 or 30 or something. All right, anyway, let's, and then what do we do here? Well, yeah, we end up destroying all the buffers. I'm guessing the staging texture will just get destroyed, but obviously the whole point, we haven't quite finished yet, because now we need to map the memory and put it into here. Because, and then that buffer is what we kind of return. So we need to do this section. Once we've done this and it's been executed, we should have it in that thing. So we should be able to read it now from the CPU, which I have no idea how to do, by the way. So we're going to have to see. Yeah, how do I read? So I have a staging texture, right? So how do I read stuff from there? Map staging texture. Well, there we go. To avoid pointer, yeah. Okay. And that's in iDevice. Yeah, that makes sense. Map staging texture. Here is our staging texture. Here is our slice. Oh, we want all of it. So it's not gonna be... Wait, but this is a single... Ugh, are we gonna have to copy it individually now? That's kind of annoying. But I guess so. Because it's per slice. Unless we can just map the whole thing. Is that a thing? I guess the problem is it might be stored differently. Like it might have padding or whatever, so it's probably better to do it this way anyway. So let's do... So we'll have to allocate the right buffer size. Yeah, I know what to do, so I don't need that. And then I think we calculated it by basically, like the buffer size ended up being this. So that's kind of nice. Yeah, this only supports one MIP. If you look at this, this has nothing to do with the MIPs. So I think it's because it's an image and it's not a texture. And I think images in Hazel either don't normally or... I don't know, they might not support multiple MIPs. I mean, they definitely do, but they don't in the sense, they don't like generate the MIPs, for example, which I think is in the texture class in Hazel. So this is clearly for one MIP. So I will comment this out and we'll just do it for one MIP. Even though it's kind of, it looks like it's laid out for potentially supporting multiple MIPs, it's clearly not. So then, yeah, so we have to do this first because we need to get all the, we need to execute the command list. So that's why we have to go through this twice, I imagine. And then we can just reuse that texture slice, but then just set the MIP level here to MIP. Whoops, MIP. Or rather texture slice. My C key keeps firing twice, annoyingly. Look at that. No, it's not. Anyway. It's very annoying. CPU access mode. Read and out row pitch. Do we care about that? I guess we don't really know how big it is in terms of this. I mean, we presume that it's that size. Okay. Okay, and then we just do a mem copy into buffer data. I guess we'll do buffer size, even though it's a bit dodgy. And data is the source. And then we can do unmap. Unmap staging texture. Staging texture. And that's it. And then we can just, that's it. Because we copied it into the buffer. And then I'm guessing that, like, because this is obviously a handle and it's reference counted, it will just delete the staging texture at the end of the scope. So I don't know, man. Also the row pitch, like we could obviously grab that row pitch and then be like, okay, row pitch times like specification dot height, and then we would know the actual size. But let me just do this. Let me just do a little verify here, because we're about to test this code anyway. Let's just do a little verify. We can just say like, you know, does the buffer size, does it equal the row pitch times the height? Because the row pitch should give us the number of bytes for each row. So if you multiply that by height, it might work. But I'm curious to see what the difference here will be. So let's just run it and we'll see. How do I read? Do I say that? That's funny. Okay, so we still have this verify here. Oh, well, there we go. So it went through this, and I guess it was correct. Because, so specification width and height, so 1024 by 1024, we got 11 MIPS, but we only care about one of them, apparently. That's a bit weird. And then, oh, but actually, MIPS specific, oh, yeah, that might just count it based on the texture. I don't know, we have to look at that. And then the buffer size we give is 4194304, which I'm guessing, and then the row pitch we get back is 4096 times 1024, which I'm guessing, yeah, is 4194304. So that actually worked out pretty well. That number is what we calculated. So there you go. But it's good to probably keep that verified there just in case. And so that means that all works. And then we have a buffer filled with data, apparently, that we can presumably make this from, because we have a buffer. What's the size of this buffer? Yeah, okay. Well, that seemed to work. So let's get rid of this assert. Again, I don't really, like, we'll go through and refine this stuff later. I just want to, this is just like a side quest at this point, because we need to get the actual thing up and running first. And by actual thing, I mean the editor with ImGui. One advice for starting content creation in general, YouTube, LinkedIn, etc. What would it be? I think consistency is probably the number one thing. Like, you just got to make sure you're consistent. If you post one thing a year or like once every few months or whatever, then it's hard. But if you are consistent, and like, there was a time when I was posting an episode of the C++ series every single day on YouTube. And that was, I think, the biggest growth for my channel was then. I mean, I already had like 50 or 70,000 subscribers, I think, back then, but that was the number one thing. Like, the fact that I think for a week straight or a bit more, maybe 10 days, I just did 10 videos in a row. And that was like, I made them every day, and that was while I was working full time at EA. So I'd come home from work at like around 6 or 7 p.m. And then I was single back then, living in an apartment by myself, like 20 years old, 21, maybe 20. No, I was 2017, I think, because I was like, what, 22. Anyway, I was pretty young, full of energy. I'd come home to my apartment where I lived alone at the time, and I'd just be like, okay, well, I could just relax and watch some like movies or shows or whatever while making dinner, and then while having dinner, and then just chill out or whatever, or I could just make a video in the next 2 or 3 hours. So I did. That's a lot of work. Holy crap, you would need to be full of energy. Well, yeah, and I was back then, early 20s, you know. But that enabled me to take things a bit more chill now, you know? I mean, look, making Hazel is still a lot of work, but I'm definitely not making a video every day while also working for like, and I think to make things worse, no, probably not yet, actually. I don't remember if I was working at EA at the time, like because I started off working like 5 days a week, 8 hours a day, basically. But then that changed. Like, I asked my manager if I could take a day off every week, like Tuesday. I would just take the day off if I worked for 10 hours every day instead of 8. And he agreed to that. And so I don't know if that was, I think I was doing 5 days a week at 8 hours though. Because a 10-hour day and then coming home and making, and I would get, basically the way that would work is I'd get to work like at 8 a.m. and leave around 6-ish, maybe 6:30. So yeah, a lot of work. Okay, so now we are on the scene renderer, which I think we agreed to disable because we're not rendering the scene yet. So editor layer on attach sets up all these renderers, which we are going to comment out, I believe. It's probably going to crash because it's definitely going to expect, I think, to have a renderer. Yeah, okay, so something's trying to set the line width. Oh, it's immediately after this. I think renderer 2D exists, but this we kind of are getting rid of. Why is this here? Set line width. Okay. Might as well see what else happens here. So on scene play. I mean, the thing is, you expect to have one of these things. So it's like, I don't know if I should put this everywhere, you know? Or I could just maybe make it as like, well, okay, all of this rendering stuff, so on update, it's not all rendering stuff though, probably, or is it? Runtime scene, well, that's for runtime, like as in that's for play mode. Yeah. Asset editor panel on update. I think we could probably just not do on update. I think stuff should still work without that. Yeah. Let's just disable this code path for now. I don't know if it's... Can I not make... Because scene renderer, I think... Let's do this. Let's have a look at if we can do this. So scene renderer, the class. Yeah, let's make a default constructor for it. So this is just gonna not do anything. Like it's gonna not initialize basically anything. So that'll be useful because it just means we can still do stuff like this without it crashing, but it's gonna just have no effect basically. So that's what we'll do, I think. So if we do, basically we're gonna do this. We're just gonna get rid of the current scene, and then we're gonna also set that. And I guess we can do that as well. Okay, so we made it to here, which is nice. And then we're in render command Q execute, and then there's something inside. Okay, Vulkan ImGui layer is running. So that's cool. We're actually making it to the quote unquote render thread command Q. The render command Q will say it's not actually running on a separate thread in Hazelnut, but it would be in the runtime. So we're in here now, and we're trying to do this, but I think we don't have to do this. And certainly not on the render thread. So Vulkan ImGui layer. I mean, do we even really need this? We probably don't need this, to be honest. Like we kind of moved a lot of this to ImGui renderer. Okay, so let's maybe continue moving stuff to here instead, and I'll just... Vulkan ImGui layer will just be something that doesn't exist, basically. So, Vulkan ImGui layer, let's just have a look at where that's used, I guess. All right, ImGui layer. So we must make an ImGui layer somewhere. And you can see there is stuff here that we do care about. Application, ImGui layer, create, push overlay. Yeah, so that's actually something that gets pinged, which is fine. I think, yeah, I think the way this is gonna work is, yeah, ImGui renderer doesn't actually exist anywhere, like as in we don't use it anywhere. So let's do this. So begin and end, these are no longer virtual. And then we'll do, I don't know, it doesn't have an on attach or anything. I guess ImGui layer had the on attach, didn't it? So yeah, so we're gonna have to give it on attach and detach, begin end it has, and then that's not even called. So let's pop on attach and detach, which these are virtual functions coming from the layer. Oops. Create method implementations for all of these. This disappears, and I think we can just replace it with. So we'll have a normal, I think, constructor. Guess we can have a normal destructor as well. And then, then we can have a static ref ImGui layer. Create, there's that double C. Return ref ImGui layer. Create. That work? On detach. What's your issue? Probably nothing. Okay. Oh, I just didn't have an implementation, maybe. Okay, sure. Okay, so now on attach. Oh yeah, that's right. And so what we're probably gonna do is ImGui renderer. Does that work out well? Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say so. Yeah, again, we'll work on we'll have to go through this, but we'll give it a default constructor for now, which means that we will actually have that here. So ImGui renderer. Which I think will just be in here. Where is this anyway? In ImGui? Yeah. So it should just be this, right? Or is it not? Hazel ImGui renderer. Yeah. And then here we can actually do ImGui renderer init, I think. So that wants an NVRHI device, which is fine. To be honest, it probably doesn't need it, because we can access that globally. And this mDevice thing, that's not really how we do things. So let's get rid of this. This stuff, yeah, we've got to think about. If we go back to where we were, which was in image, just because I know we have a device there. We can grab this device. I don't know if we need that elsewhere. Can't we just do application get graphics device? Yeah, we can do that instead. Oh, that's crazy. All right. Oh, is this not ref counted? Yeah, I guess layers aren't ref counted. Yeah, they're not. Okay, that's fine. Thanks, Dr. Jam. I'm glad you enjoy my videos. Okay, so begin and end. Oh yeah, they're not. Oh wait. Yeah, so this class doesn't really exist anymore. I'll still keep it here, but it doesn't exist anymore. So were we doing anything else in that? So yeah, begin and end we still have to do. So yeah, so now we can, I think, start copying from here. So on attach, so what did that do? So we just do that because we have an init function here. So I mean, that did stuff like ImGui create context, ImGui check version. Does that stuff happen inside the renderer? Where's init? Like, do they do ImGui stuff, or I guess not? I guess this is just supposed to be the renderer backend for ImGui, which is why the layer would do everything else. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So then we just take all of this, basically, up until here. And there's probably going to be stuff here that we might need, or maybe not. We'll have to get some stuff going. HZ icon min and max font, awesome. All right. Yeah, the create fonts texture is handled by the renderer. Yeah, everything in here is handled by the renderer, so that's nice. Detach. The renderer should probably do that. Begin. So I think we'll have the... I'm guessing that's just like import input. Go sort out these includes a bit better. Get rid of these color stuff. Yeah, so we got the mouse cursor. And then everything else, I think, it just, okay, it does ImGui new frame. Do we do that stuff here? No, because that's like all external. So I think there's probably just a render function, right? Which renders it to a frame buffer, and it does ImGui get draw data, yeah, so it expects the rendering to already have happened, I imagine. So this is like the draw list creation to already have happened. Which means that if we go back here, we need to do, yeah, this stuff. So end, we'll do ImGui render, which is important. This will have to do this. Now new frame for like, what is that? So that does nothing. And this has to do all the updating. We might have to look at Donut and just see where they did that. Because that's kind of important, I guess. I mean, we could still do that. Obviously, GLFW is a thing. But we might have to investigate that a bit. And as we've discussed, as we've discovered, this does nothing. All right, I'll make this a bit darker again. All right. So now, if we do end, we just do render, and then that's it, right? Yeah. So this stuff we. Oh, whoops. That's here. So this is like what to do with viewports, which we've talked about not doing yet, but we need to do this viewports thing. We need to make that work. So then we'll just do renderer render. So it wants a frame buffer. Let's work out where we used to render this to. Oh, we have special command buffers here as well. Ugh, I don't know how this is gonna all work. We'll see. To basically reinvent it. Oh, the swap chain was our frame buffer. Ah, okay. Well, I mean, that works, I guess. So, how do we do that? Well, Vulkan, this isn't in use anymore, is it? So, device manager? Does this have the swap chain? Yeah, because it runs a bit differently, but... Since this has the swap chain... would have the swap chain frame buffers, swap chain images, but what about the frame buffers? Okay, that's annoying. Okay, we're gonna have to probably look at Donut just to see how they do this. So, maybe we can look at application base. Okay, so it actually takes in a frame buffer. Frame buffer. Oh, look, M swap chain frame buffers. So here it's stored as protected inside device manager. Did I not see that? Yeah, we got it as well. Okay, good. And then finally, what I wanted to know was, yeah, so that comes from here, right? Get current back buffer index, which also comes from device manager. Application base. Oh, this is a render pass. Wondering how, because this is protected, so I'm just wondering. Render pass. Okay. I think I get it. I think I get it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because it's doing it like, yeah, I don't like their little render pass. I mean, it makes sense for a small application, but not for Hazel. The way that they have this like list of render passes within the actual device manager, but because we still haven't removed that. But I think it's fine. It just means that I think we, what we can do is we can just write a function here, probably called, we'll have it return a frame buffer handle, and we'll just say get current swap chain frame buffer, and then that will just return, we can make it const or whatever. This double C thing, so annoying. I need to probably fix that. So if we do M swap chain frame buffers at get current back buffer index, what? What are you on about? Ah, type qualifiers, because that's not const. For some reason. Why is that not a const function? We'll make it a const function. I mean, okay, you know what? To be fair, let's not change it. Let's not make it a const function. It doesn't really matter. I'll just remove const from here. We are, in a way, writing to this probably, so therefore it probably makes sense. Okay, let's try and compile this, because it probably doesn't know what's going on. And so now, inside ImGui layer, ImGui renderer, no, ImGui layer, we can do this, because we can just be like, application, how do we, we have to probably do get device manager. How do we get the device manager? Oh, we need to get the window, right? Get window. This is dumb. I want to make this a bit better. Get device manager. Get current frame buffer. Oh, what? Get current buffer. Oh, that's, yeah. Get current swap chain frame buffer. So that's a thing. What? Wait, no, that's me. Get current frame buffer. Probably does exactly the same thing. But I didn't write it. Yep. Okay, lol. I just wrote a function that already existed. That is depressing. However, oh no, it's public. Okay, so let's add this because it's getting a little bit annoying. So we have get graphics device. Let's also do get graphics device manager, maybe. And this will be, so this device manager, how is it work? How does it work exactly? It's just a pointer. So it'll be in window, get device manager. And we'll just make it static. Oh, I guess it's this. Right, and then we can do that. So this just makes this, you know, a little bit shorter. Get current frame buffer. Yeah, there you go. Whether or not that will actually work is a different story, but it seems to work in theory. Let's do a little build. Oh, I might get some more tea in a minute. You can share with us the playlist. Do you like the music playing in the background? Yep, it's actually I can just share it in chat. Deep Focus by Epidemic Sound on Spotify. Let's see if I can copy link to playlist. Is that? Let me just double check that that will actually work. Yep. All right. Playlist link is in chat. So yeah, so Vulkan ImGui layer should now no longer run at all. Okay, looks like some ImGui issue. Okay, so we're trying to begin rendering here, but new frame doesn't work because we have no backend data. Yes, that's because, yeah, that's literally because we didn't do this. I guess it happened inside init and I missed it here, right? Inside on attach. Well, we did GLFW init for Vulkan, but the thing is we don't want to do that. Okay, let's go donut. We'll have a look at how. So this is what we have, but this is another thing. This whole renderer thing. We might have to do some, might have to grab this as well. I mean, we do half of this, obviously. But anyway, let's have a look at, because the ImGui initialization stuff obviously needs to happen somewhere. Would that just be a device manager thing? Does this do any ImGui stuff? No. I guess we can just search for ImGui in the current project. And we'll see. Really? Oh, I typed in not ImGui. Then we can see what it does. User interface utils. No, that probably doesn't do it. No, but that's it. Well, I think it's probably gonna have to be in here, because this is where we do ImGui create context. And then ImGui NVRHI init. But that doesn't... Or does it just not need this? Because what does this do? Just says like the display frame buffer scale. Maybe this happens inside ImGui renderer. Yeah, it does. Okay, cool. So they actually have their own implementation of that. So ImGui renderer is like the GLFW one, and ImGui Vulkan is like the Vulkan one. Okay, cool. Well, I mean, we're gonna have to probably copy this, because this obviously works with NVRHI. And then render, I guess. Okay. Okay. And then it calls render with frame buffer as well. And is this what you call? I guess so. So did they make ImGui renderer a render pass? Yeah, they did. Okay. So that's... Yeah, I mean, I think this is basically like... I think this is basically ImGui layer. Like, that's kind of what I made ImGui layer, because that's what does create context and stuff. So we'll probably just grab it from there. Okay, cool. I'm gonna be back pretty soon. Just gonna grab some more tea. Okay, I'm back. So yes, that's what we're doing, right? We are getting, all right, I need to get this. Okay, sure. I'll just leave it like this, I think. Okay, so yeah, so we did create context, and it's got some fonts here. Just destroy context. We'll do in detach. And then we need to set, yeah, so this actually kind of integrates it with GLFW, which I guess makes sense. Instead of doing this, is kind of what we're doing. So I just don't know if I want to use GLFW here directly, because we've kind of isolated all of GLFW-ish into window, right? So I guess we will for now, just to get it up and running, and then we will think about, like, if it ends up being something we don't want to do or whatever. Because at the moment, GLFW is used for all platforms. It's just in the future, it might not be. And then we'll have to basically have two versions of ImGui layer. But, you know, we'll see. So window, so we include GLFW. Yeah, and GLFW, you can see it's included in the header for Windows, so it's not, that obviously means that it's not like isolated, it's not like siloed or anything. Whoops, that's the wrong thing. But yeah, so create context. Yeah, and then I guess we can do it here. So we'll basically do this. This just sets up everything. Why is it specifically only doing this though? It's weird. Let's have a look at, I guess, what we used to use, which was this. See, that does, I mean, it has a function that does this, I guess. Could we just use this? Like, why? I'm trying to remember why we don't use this though. What's the point of doing this differently? If we use GLFW, like, does this do anything with Vulkan? Kind of. Well, it has an init for Vulkan function, which just does like clear, right? It has a bunch of these ones. Init for other. But that also doesn't really do anything, I think. Like, what does this do that's Vulkan related? Client API. It just sets the backend client API. Well, yeah, then maybe let's make this work, after all. I just don't know if there's much reason to rewrite it. So, in that case, we won't do this. We won't include GLFW. We will include, what was it, like, backends, GLFW, I think. We will do this. It's just the difference is that we have to actually initialize it. So we have to do, like, init, I guess, for Vulkan. Then we have to get the window handle. How do we get the window handle? Get native window, apparently. And install callbacks. Now, I'm guessing we would have done that here. It's Vulkan in it. True, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so now I guess that should work, hopefully. Like, we should be able to, because, yeah, now it has all the backend data, and I think that's probably safer to do it this way anyway. And then it's just the rendering that we're not doing using ImGui's provided thing, but the backend stuff is still kind of doing, like, still kind of using the ImGui provided implementation. Do I do any macOS C++ dev? Not really. I used to kind of, well, at EA, there's an engine called Osiris, which was like their primary mobile engine. And, oh, that's interesting. Oh, there's no fonts. I kind of ported that engine to macOS, so I did a lot of work there on macOS. But that was like, you know, for like 1 or 2 months. So it wasn't like, you know, for like years. And then, yeah, so I haven't really done too much macOS C++ dev outside of that. I think in university when I was studying, I used like a Mac for a while, like a MacBook Pro. And I used that to write C++ code. But then when I got more serious into like game engines, then I started using Windows a lot more. And before that, I used Windows too. Okay, so we don't have any fonts, which is, I thought we made some inside, I mean, well, this is a new frame, this is in Begin already, so if we have a look at ImGui Renderer, then, like, that should have probably, well, there's update font texture. Oh, that needs to be called. And then I'm guessing it sets it, yeah, it does set it into ImGui. So that needs to be called. So I'm guessing they call it here. It's kind of also happens as a lazy load thing. So we can basically, I don't know if that's strictly speaking necessary, but we can basically on Begin, I guess before we do new frame, we can do ImGui Renderer update font texture. And that should create it for us. That's kind of how they do it. How NVIDIA does it. Whoa, we almost rendered a frame there. Did you guys see that? It's like black. That's kind of cool. Okay, so the image is null. All right, what are we trying to do? layer stack on ImGui render editor layer. The viewport renderer. Haha. Okay, so let's not render this at all. Didn't we have, isn't this like, wasn't this something that we kind of did? Like, isn't I feel like, yeah, that's why this was even indented, because there used to be a check like this on this. Okay, this is pretty cool. So we're getting up to actually trying to render the viewport. I mean, we still have to, like, it'll be a huge milestone when we can render one frame, you know? So I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to that, but when we get one frame rendering, that's going to be beautiful. We're going to have a party. I should be using shader packs, maybe that would be faster to load. All right, so, Vulkan swap chain present. That window swap buffers, okay. That shouldn't be here, I don't think. So device manager. Does that have a function for that? Present, right? Yeah. Begin frame and present. So do we call begin frame? No, well, probably not. So this basically device manager present now. And then begin frame. Because the thing is, the swap chain class has a begin frame. So where does this get called from? Or does it not anymore because I like... Nah. Okay, let's have a look at an older version of Hazel. Because I must have already removed that. And let's just have a look at begin frame and see where that's called from. Yeah, application calls it inside... oh, like the first thing here. Okay, interesting. Oh, right before render a begin frame. Interesting. So application, I mean, that's a little bit... I don't love that, but it's okay, probably. So render a begin frame. Because presumably that happens, right? Yeah, render a begin frame. Oh, here it was. Oh, okay, we are doing that. Window get device manager begin frame, but that's on the render thread. Oh, is swap buffers also on the render thread? Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's it then. I mean, it's annoying that it goes through the device manager like this, and so maybe window begin frame would have been better, but the fact that swap buffers now just does device manager present is promising. So maybe we'll see something on the screen now. That would be amazing. Guys, we have something. It looks terrible, but we have something. Look, this is the first. You're seeing the very first Hazelnut 2024.1. It still says .1. There's Hazel running using the new renderer. Isn't that amazing? Yeah, we got a first frame. We got several frames. Okay, so I think we should probably fix this texture state stuff not being tracked. Upside down is also annoying. Does this... Oh. This, yeah, definitely is a bit weird. What does that say? Something target. Okay, cool. Wow. I didn't expect to see it in this state. This looks weird. Like, as in, I thought we would... it's probably because half the stuff's upside down, half the stuff's not. Very interesting. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, so... Yeah, let's think about the texture state stuff. I mean, I'd like to know maybe where this is coming from. Because... then we can obviously put a breakpoint here. So this is required texture state apparently. Oh, that does that. Unknown prior state of texture. Is that what it says? Yeah. So let's see where we're hitting this. I kind of know how to do it though. I think. I'm just not even sure what textures it's complaining about. because, I mean, I guess we are trying to, like, for example, that Hazel logo is a texture. Texture 2D set data. Oh, texture 2D, no, that's fine, yeah. Unknown prior state. Invalidate. So I'm guessing what needs to happen there is kind of like what we have, actually, it's not even here. It's in ImGui renderer when we do the font stuff. What do we do here? Let's see. When we create like the font texture, which is here, you can see it says begin tracking texture state and then also set permanent texture state. So I think what's important is, and then we probably have to do commit barriers to commit that. So I think what it wants us to do is after we set data and we do write texture, we basically change it to be so this is basically effectively changing the layout to be a shader resource rather than probably just a destination for transfer. Like, what does commit barriers do? I'm guessing that, does that actually do the Vulkan thing that I'm thinking of? End render pass. It's just if it's there. And commit barriers internal synchronization too. Well, yeah, okay. So yeah, so it looks like it actually does a pipeline barrier call. All right, that's what I was thinking of. Okay, and then set permanent texture state to that. And then I guess before that, so begin tracking texture state. Just wonder if we should do that here, because we could do it here, for example. But we probably want to do this maybe, but I guess we don't have a command list before that, and that has to go into the command list. Because we don't always do, I guess with the texture we do always do set data, but I just thought maybe we could do it up here or in RT invalidate, like somewhere here, you know. But I guess we don't have that context yet, so anyway, we'll see, we'll work it out. We're gonna just, we still got that breakpoint, I think, so we'll see if we get to a point where that's just not called, hopefully. We are obviously like loading a lot of textures. We're just not, we're doing a lot of backend renderer stuff. We're just not rendering any frames of Hazel itself. Like, we're just doing ImGui for now. So it's still doing a lot of stuff in the background. All right, so yeah, we don't have the texture state problems anymore. I mean, permanent texture doesn't have the right state bits. It's pretty bad. Also, yeah, the upside down. Oh yeah, I'm not too worried about that. Let's find this. Really? Okay, that's odd, but I'm guessing it's gonna be in... here, maybe? Doesn't have the right state bits. Why can it not find that? Oh, because permanent texture, it's just permanent and then texture buffer. So let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at what it is that's causing it. No, okay. Ah, alright. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, so... wait. Copy texture require buffer state or require texture state? So source. Yeah. So what we probably need to do is, first, I guess, before we do copy texture, we probably need to set... do I really have to do set permanent texture state? Let me just have a look. It already knows it's... Oh, it's just set texture state, I think. That's probably just this. And then I think we probably have to do minfo image handle. Can we just do that? State bits. Copy source. I don't know if I have to call commit barriers first. Oh yeah, probably. And then I guess we just, after that's done, we can probably go back to set permanent texture state. Well, yeah, basically what we had in like set data, but yeah, we have to do the same thing here as well. So we just make it like a shader resource, because I think that's, well, but what if it's not a shader resource? What if it's a, okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think this is correct. I'm not 100% sure. And then also, what we should do is when we do the set, because it has a set data function, we should probably do this as well. And begin tracking the texture state from the beginning. Again, I'm not too sure if common is the right resource state, because it's like common, you know, what does that mean? That feels like a cop-out, so we'll see. Hopefully that works, but we'll see. Okay, that's still wrong. Oh, because apparently this is wrong. Required state is copy source. But what, aren't we trying to set it to copy source? That's weird. Ah, because I guess because it's a permanent state. So what, we have to set the permanent state to something else. Don't really know what the difference is. Like, as in, I don't really know how it treats set permanent versus not. Because basically, like, you know, we kind of have to, I guess we have to do, either we have to initially have it there, or we can just, I guess we can do this. And then I guess that would work. But I don't want it, again, I kind of just want to do it temporarily. We could also, when we do this initially, we could also just say that it's shader resource and copy destination, copy source, but I guess I don't want that to be a thing. This is just like a temporary thing. So it's a bit weird. I don't know what it wants us. I don't know what the right way to do that would be. And it's still upset. I guess because yeah, it is reading the permanent state, which is different. So therefore I guess the permanent state really is permanent. So I guess we just can't set it to permanent unless we want it to be a copy source always. Well, one thing, so one thing we could do is, I guess, I don't know, there's two ways. Either we just set texture state and not permanent texture state, or we give it shader resource and then OR it with copy source. But that's something I would be less happy to potentially do. I don't know, I just imagine that's probably not as good as if it's just a permanent shader resource. But I don't know. Because if you do that, I'm guessing you don't need to do either of these, which is probably good. But I don't mind doing a transition for it transiently just to copy from it, you know? Yeah, the double C is driving me crazy, and I don't know why some of the letters are coming out. It's like my shift key is lagging behind or something. I don't know, man. This keyboard. I thought it was like, it's a nice keyboard. It's expensive, but I don't know why it's not working well. It's working worse than my cheap keyboards. Okay, so what's happening here? This is the same thing. But it should have that. Oh, so permanent state. Oh, it's shader resource. Didn't I make it both? Is that because it never had... No, that doesn't make sense. What does it? I'm just wondering if set permanent texture state, if that even ran. Because if we create like, well, yeah, it probably would have. Because it's this, right? So how would we have created this earlier? It would have been like the texture importer. Ah. But that's probably because this has its own stupid set data. Like, why does it have this, you know? I feel like this shouldn't happen. I feel like, let's do if 0 for now. Let's just get rid of this. And we don't have maps yet at all. But if we do, because it has an image, so why wouldn't you just do image set data? Because otherwise it's like, you got the duplicate on the code. Because that's probably what it is, and that's why the shader resource, it says it's shader resource, but it's actually both. So, yeah, a little strange on that, for sure. Okay, so set data transfer. Image must be created with transfer. Yes. We should do that actually, that's smart. And that way we can actually, yeah, make it have copy source or whatever. But let's just make sure that when we create the image, which is probably here, we say transfer true because it's a texture. It's not a like a frame buffer target or something, or just an image target, like a render target. Hello Cherno, how are you doing? Not bad. A lot of work to do. Okay, now this is upset. And why is that? Before, after. Shader resource and copy source. Maybe you're not allowed to have both of those. Okay, well that's fine. Image layout. So assert image layout. Okay. So what is the image layout? bit weird, isn't it? Maybe you're not allowed to do that. But I don't know why. So copy destination is what it... Oh, I see. Yeah, actually, copy source is a bit weird, isn't it? Because it would have had copy destination. Here it is. There's that initial state. So why would you get rid of that, you know? So it actually already has copy source as a thing. So maybe you don't need this. I thought we'd never specified this, but it has an initial state. So maybe that just works? I don't know. Yeah, if it's marked, I guess, as transfer or the usage as texture, it should have that. Let's see what this does. Okay. So we do need to do the begin tracking, but I think we do. I thought we did. Okay, so that gives us this still. But also, and it doesn't, the bits are gone, but now it's saying that it's an unknown state. Let's just see where this happens. I guess we're still trying to do some set permanent state, but do we have to do set permanent state? If initial state, I guess maybe we didn't set the initial state in, maybe that's why I did it. Because yeah, this happens from the same one when we try to do this. Set permanent texture state. Maybe we do have to do that. Because I'm just wondering, like, if we have a look at the ImGui renderer quickly, just because that has that font texture example. I mean, we write it here, but we never set an initial state in the texture description. So what is the point of having an initial state? Like, what does it do with that initial state? Because state tracking, it doesn't apply to that, I guess. And yeah, it doesn't know. So... This is bizarre. Okay, I see. So then would it make sense for us to just, like, when we create this, which happens device create texture, would we then want to set the state tracking? It just seems a bit weird because we'd effectively have to do this. Device execute. So we basically just do this, I'm guessing. And then I guess the initial state is what we would give it. What is common, man? I'm really confused. Common says 1, but what does that mean? Common. I need to look at what that actually translates to in Vulkan. But it seems like we'd almost want to do this, but it just seems kind of wasteful and a bit weird. And I'm guessing that, so permanent texture state, I guess we're not going to do for images, because that's a bit too, I mean, it might work for textures, but then if we want to read from it, it doesn't even make sense. So I guess we don't do that. And then begin is already tracked, so we don't need any of this, I don't think. And that doesn't make sense either. Okay, let's see what this does. Okay, that's still... What? Well, that doesn't make sense. What does begin tracking texture state do? It just adds it to get texture state tracking. It just adds it to this list, I guess. So then how does it not have it? That's so strange. So it just doesn't have it. What? Or is that somewhat transient? It can't be though, can it? I thought it permanently, like, yeah, actually that's a good point. Where does it store that? Because that will tell us probably. So state tracker is inside a command list. Huh. So is it just for that duration of that command list? I thought it was permanent. Well, set permanent makes it permanent, I guess, but otherwise it's just for the command list. Huh. Yeah, so that would mean that obviously there's, I mean, it makes sense in one way because it means that we don't, doing that other thing we did was useless. But it does mean that you have to do begin tracking texture state every single time. And I guess this initial state. But what's the point of setting an initial state? That's another thing I wanted to find out. Like, I mean, initial state. Like, what are these initial states used for? Great. There's also keep initial state. Ah. Maybe we need just to set keep initial state to true. Maybe that would work. Okay, let's get rid of this, and then let's... try that, and we'll see if that works at all. Otherwise, I think we have to store the state and then begin tracking it every time we use stuff. That's the other thing we could do. So this seems wrong. Copy destination. But I guess it's more than just copy destination. Should be copy source and the existing initial state, which is just nothing. What? But it has to be shader or read or whatever. This is weird. A little bit strange. Wonder if I should look at more examples or the docs. If you look at the docs, maybe there's some stuff here. State tracking and barriers. Okay. Oh yeah, this is what I discovered. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so that's basically what we should be able to do. I feel like if we just do keep initial state, that should just work. So that's what we just tried. But it's not happy because of this, I guess. So they have to be the same, or they have to be, or one of them has to be undefined. But oh, I see. This is a bit annoying. But unfortunately, I can't really see this either. So we've already done this, which means we've already set, as long as it's either transfer or texture, which it is transfer and texture. Why this asks for the current initial state, but either way this should probably be for texture, it should probably be shader resource, right? We'll have to set up initial states for the rest of them, but anyway, that's odd. I don't know why I can't look at this result. Image layout. And what's mapping? Okay, I see. So it gets... Yeah, I mean, that's fine. So it's a... Yeah, transfer destination. Mm-hmm. This is annoying. That's so strange though. Like, why would it not be happy with this? initial state come in as well? That's what I want to know. Okay. Because it's seeming to me as if it's like not happy. That it's both. It's like it can't be both of these or whatever. But I'm pretty sure it can. Because it's basically, I'm guessing it's asserting, none of these are undefined. So I'm guessing it's got to be asserting because it's on like the second iteration of this while loop. And the result, the current result layout, which is set here, is not the same, but it would never be. Like, why would it be? If you've got multiple ones here, then, and you're assigning them, then the image layout would be different, wouldn't it? Because it's not combining them. Whereas here we have 3 different states, which I'm pretty sure it's allowed to be. So that's why I don't really understand how this could possibly work. Because result image layout gets overwritten with whatever the latest one is. So how does that work? Like it's, you know, it's 3 different ones. We have like share to read only optimal. We have the transfer ones. Transfer source optimal and destination optimal. So we have these 3. Which here are marked as 5, 6, 7 though. So, but that's, I guess that's just the current image layout. But they're not, it can't be all 3, apparently. So how does that work? So then this kind of makes sense. Okay, I guess we just do this then. I guess we don't do that. I guess we just... basically... we just do this like normal, and then I think when we do, I guess we have to kind of keep track of it though. Yeah, I'm guessing, I don't know. When we want to do set data, that's when we have to do begin tracking texture state. We pass in this, all sub resources, and so the resource state, I think we're gonna have to keep track of. So we used to do this in Vulkan. So nothing, yeah, in fact, here it is. It's in image info. So it had it as common, but anyway. So we do that, and then we have to do set texture state. What was it called again? Resource state. To copy destination. Then we do that, and then we have to set it to shader resource. And by doing so, we also have to update our state to shader resource, which is a bit annoying. That's why I was kind of hoping it would do it for us, but since we have to begin tracking the texture state and transition it from that to this, I think we have to know what it is. And that seems like it would probably work. However, if it is, like, for example, if it was a render target or a storage image, basically. So this is redundant. It's the same thing. I don't know, like that seems like maybe it would work. It's a bit weird though. And you can't really set the permanent state because you might want to set the data again. So maybe there can be optimizations in the future where we just flat out say that, like, no, this has to, you know, you can mark an image as something that's definitely not gonna change. Like it's always gonna be read as an image. Like it's an image that's only ever gonna be used as a shader resource versus like I might want to read from it for some reason. Read from it like CPU side or transfer it to another image or whatever else. Okay, it's still upset though. Oh, this is different. Okay. So what's this? Copy to host buffer. Yeah, sure. So I think we need to do a similar thing here. Oh, commit barriers. We didn't really do that. We'll see if it works without it. Otherwise, we know what to do. And then we'll put it back to whatever it was, I guess. This is a very transient operation. See if that works. Otherwise, yeah, commit barriers. I mean, commit barriers probably needs to happen every time, doesn't it? Because it needs to, otherwise it doesn't actually do the transition. Not sure, it's a bit weird. Oh, okay, good. No issues with that. Okay, so I'm really perplexed why this is both. No, I guess it's just vertically flipped. It looks like it's almost like horizontally mirrored as well, but it's not. Do I have a roadmap for how to become a game engine dev? No, I've got a roadmap for finishing this project or like getting it to like a proper release, but no, not really to become that. Wonder why it's flashing. The flashing is probably because there's some issue with it acquiring the correct swap chain image. So what should we do first, guys? The flashing, maybe I'll do a little poll. The flashing or the reverse? I'm probably gonna do the reverse first. So there's probably no point polling you guys. Because I don't really care what the answer is gonna be. When we do, I think in ImGui renderer, no, ImGui layer. Like I think we tell it that we wanna render to the current frame buffer, which is the current back buffer index. But I'm assuming that that might not be the one that we present or whatever else. So that's probably why. It's just rendering to the wrong one. We could try to fix that first. So the way I could maybe debug that is by let's actually do a release build, just because it will be so much faster to start up. Otherwise we wait like 20 seconds every time we run the application to get to the part that we want, and then we can switch back to debug for actual breakpoints and stuff. But if we just get so the get current frame buffer, obviously we have get current back buffer index. So if we just have a look at, like, let's just do hz core info. ImGui we'll just say is like goes to like this index, and then if I go to Windows CPP, then we can just see which one we're presenting. I mean, no, this will probably be the right one, maybe, but I'm also interested in how we're actually doing the presenting, because this will present, let's see which one this presents. It's funny because I said I would do the reverse first, but I'm actually doing the flashing first. So yeah, which one is it presenting? I mean, there's a present semaphore index, but that's slightly different. Oh, it's probably a bit later, isn't it? Frames and flight, push, what's query event handle query? Where's it doing the actual presentation? Oh, here it is, present KHR. And it does execute command list. Well, yeah, swap chain index. So, is that the same thing? Yes. So, okay, well, let's see. Yeah, so you can see that, oh no, that looks correct. So we're rendering to 0, then we present 0. Isn't that a bit weird? Oh no, but what is weird is that 1 is never there. See? It's just 0 and 2. So why is that the case? Maybe we're not creating 3. Well, frames in flight is 3. So if anything, that might be why. I think. I just gotta make sure that we create this swap chain properly for the way that, for what Hazel expects, basically. Because basically, yeah, that would make sense if we're rendering 2 out of 3 frames. So let's have a look at, I don't know where that happens, so we're gonna have to do some spelunking. Well, yeah, resize swap chain maybe. Create swap chain. I want to see like how many it creates. Minimum swap chain buffer count. So that's probably, oh, it's set to 3. Is it really? Let's put a breakpoint in. I'm in release mode. RIP. Let's do debug. Really, it's 3. Well then, it's not working because it says it's going between 0 and 2. So it's clearly not using 3 images. Yeah, it is 3. What? Images 3. So it creates 3 images. Unless it always just shows 0 and 2, but that doesn't make sense because it's clearly not rendering. So swap chain index is, yeah, 0. So I'm guessing this, in begin frame, we retrieve this. So we must be retrieving just 0 and 2 for some reason. I wonder why that ends up happening. So semaphore index goes to 1, and swap chain index is still 0. Oh, now it's 1. Now it's back to 0. 2. Well, I mean, that seems to work. Now it's 1 and 2. Huh. I mean, like, the flow seems correct. But we've got to be just, like, not... Yeah, it's got to be... Well, look, here we're actually rendering it. It's got to be, like... Maybe it's... Yeah, it's probably, like, a synchronization thing. Because it's fine if we're using 2 out of 3. That's fine. Because we might be, you know. The third one's really only necessary if the CPU and GPU are very not very unsynchronized, but you're either like, I guess if you're like very GPU bound or something, you'd use 3 because then you can record stuff onto the third one. But 2 is probably what we expect here. But the fact that it's flashing, and it's not now, so it's not, doesn't happen all the time. Seems like it's probably like a, am I rendering directly to the back buffer? I just wonder if it's like a, I mean, it's probably a synchronization thing, but it just doesn't seem like, because the other thing is like, when we render to ImGui, where is it? Okay, so it has its own command list. I guess it makes its own command list. When does it create this command list? Just in init. So it's just got its own command list, which it executes whenever we call render. I wonder if that's fine. Let's have a quick look at Donut. And we'll see how it... I mean, we know it kind of does the same thing. So there it is, execute command list. And then I'm guessing render tells it to render... Yeah, with the swap chain frame buffers get current back buffer index. So device manager render and make render present will probably happen here. And then we do, yeah, so after that immediately we do, oops, present. It's cool that we're getting stuff rendering though, like it means the shaders that we wrote last time work. Probably. This looks pretty standard. Uninitialized uncleared buffer. Do I have Vulkan validation layer turned on? I don't know actually, because that's going through NVRHI. So I wonder if it would. Well, I mean, it would tell me, I think, if there was stuff wrong. Enable debug runtime is false. Inside instance parameters. Device creation parameters. Oh, that's donut. So device params, I think we can do, oh yeah, we set the swap chain buffer count as well anyway. But if we do, what is it, enable debug runtime or something, we can set that to true. And we'll see whether or not that gives us any extra messages. it seems pretty happy. That's so strange. Okay, actually, let's try this. Let's try... Oh no, but it should be fine. Yeah, because otherwise that's why it would be out of sync. So ImGui layer end does the rendering. That gets called from here, and you can see it is being called on the render thread, so to speak. And we are submitting on the render thread, and we're doing begin frame on the render thread. So everything's happening on the render thread. Like, as in because that's important, because if you don't get that synchronization right, there is no render thread though, because this is like in this case, because this is the editor, which doesn't have a render thread, the runtime does. But it's still, it effectively acts as like a deferred queue of commands, like a render command queue. So it is important to make sure that we have a begin frame, which acquires the image that is now where we render to. Then we do the rendering on that render of submit as well. I wonder why we ended up doing this. Oh, render a begin frame and that, yeah. And then we do swap buffers, which does the presentation after effectively this. So that seems fine. We can debug it maybe using Insight or something in the future. Now, in terms of the ImGui renderer though, so it's got this model view projection matrix. Why does it even have this vertex constant buffer? We're not even using this. That's weird. Let me see why we're not using that. Oh, well, they're not using it either. That's so strange. Because I was gonna ask, how exactly is our shader still here? How exactly is it like projecting this? Because I want to see if I can flip it, obviously. I mean, it's got this inv display size, which it multiplies by -2. It probably just shouldn't do that. Like, why does it do that? Let's try this. It might flip it for some cases. But let's just not flip it and see what happens. I think it'll recompile the shader, probably. Oh, look at that. Why did that produce this result? That's bizarre. What? Inverse display size. Where does this come from? Is this even correct? It's gotta be. It's a push constant. So where do we do the rendering? Here somewhere. Update geometry render. So it's got to do the push constant here. Maybe it's part of set push constants in display size. Where does it get this from? Oh, right. Okay. Let's just have a look. I guess make sure that's right. I don't know if we'll be able to see it. What does it think our display size is? Yeah, that's correct. Okay, well, at least that's working. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, that should flip it. If my, like that, I don't. And wait, what's that? Plus, and it offsets it. Oh, by 1. Okay, so I think this would be -1. That's why. Probably. We'll see. Because it's, yeah, there we go. All right, cool. So it's flipped the right way up. There's the content browser. Oh. Okay, well, I can't drag this, but it does seem like it updates the rendering. Oh, you guys can't see that. This, see? Look, I can click on stuff. It's so dodgy though, look at it. Why? That looks like it's oscillating between 2 frames or something. Yeah, something is off about the way it renders frames. And it's all faded, but I think, oh look, here we go. You can look at this. Yeah, flipping that shader fixed so much, which is nice. It is so weird though, how the rendering is all messed up. Like, as in, it's like out of sync. No, the flicker doesn't reliably stop ever. It's just like, yeah. What if I try, let me try this. I'm gonna try and set the swap chain buffer count to 2 instead of 3. Just stabbing in the dark here to see if that does anything. No, okay, that's probably a good thing. It's also flashing a lot faster on, I was just looking at the stream, in real life versus the stream. I wonder why I can't drag this. But you can see that like it's going between that old frame and the new frame. That's why it's, because it, and if I select, sometimes when I select this, no, it's always going between some weirdo frame and, what if it's ImGui that's flickering? Like, what if it doesn't know which ImGui state to go for or something? Because that's a possibility. It could be the way that it's rendering through ImGui rather than the actual. Okay, is the old frame being updated with the new frame contents? Okay, let's try this. Let's get Insight. Didn't I install a newer version? Oh, no, I didn't. Okay, whatever. Just wondering if this will reveal anything. Wait, is that GPU trace? I definitely didn't mean that. Also it crashed. Yeah, GPU trace. I meant frame debugger. Oh, that's the wrong thing. That's probably why. Oh, look, now I'm getting Vulkan. Oh, that might be inject things. Now, I kind of want to capture more than 1 frame though. Yeah, well, that is all that's happening. This isn't really gonna tell us anything, I don't think. Wait, what's this begin and end command buffer? It's doing nothing, and then we just have present. What? Q submit. Wait, what? That seems like it's in the wrong order, first of all. I'll just terminate this and How do I tell it? Let's do force validation. How do I tell it I want like 3 frames? I remember that was a thing. Weird. Now this stuff, it might be unrelated. Yeah, this isn't too revealing. It is like surprising that there's so little stuff here, and specifically the fact that it's just, this is just, I don't know, it's not actually working because it's not showing me my draw indexed call that's actually drawing this stuff. So I don't know why it's not able to do that. Maybe it somehow catches it on the frame where it doesn't draw anything. That's why it's like black. Or like it's like that might be a thing. And like render a begin frame and end frame, I have no idea what that does. Nothing. Good. So yeah, so we just do device manager begin frame, which just acquires the next image. It's got a semaphore. That's the other thing. We probably should check the semaphores, but that's fine, I think. That's just used to make sure that the image is finished being presented before we render it, when we render to it again. Which is what happens here. Oh, this, look. That's what we were seeing, probably. Why is this here? What does it do? I mean, it doesn't matter, I don't think. But it is a bit weird. So that must be... Maybe that's like kind of what we're seeing. I mean, this is doing nothing, so... It doesn't really make sense. And it's a barrier command list. Oh, I think I might... Although it doesn't do anything here. I'm just wondering if they have to do it, they have to submit it or something. Maybe they have to like submit it. You have to open it and close it maybe before you submit it if it's empty. But I could have just done an if check maybe, I don't know. Well, either way, I don't think removing this will fix anything. I'm still running this. It does seem less flickery. Like it, during resizing it flickers a lot. Oh, it's still so weird. But it's definitely less flickery without this somehow. That's weird. Yeah, like it doesn't initially flicker. I don't know if that's just lucky, but... Yeah, see here it initially flickers. Dude, this is so weird. How did this used to work? Like what happened in Vulkan swap chain, which is what I wrote. So present. So we actually had certain command buffers because we did a queue submit. And that had all of this submit info. And then we did a present. Oh, and then we have render finish semaphores and all of that stuff. Hang on a minute. Oops, this is the same thing. None of that happens here, I don't think. It goes right to present and it doesn't do queue submit. Because queue submit, well, execute command list probably does queue submit. No, but that's queue submit. That's not. Let's see what this does. Why? Where is the actual validation device? Like, where's the actual execute command lists function? Here it is. Yeah, so that does the queue submit. But the thing is, it doesn't have any render complete semaphores, and like, how are you supposed to know when rendering is finished and you can submit? That's the thing that doesn't make sense. I think that's our problem. I mean, there is a queue, there's this waiting here, which you do begin frame and then it kind of queue wait for semaphore. Oh, but then, and then what does it do here? That like signals that it's done? Add signal semaphore. Queue wait for command list. I think that's probably the issue. We're being a little bit weird here. Because so Vulkan ImGui layer used to do, we had this like draw command buffer. Where do we get it from? Oh, so that actually drew directly to the swap chain's current draw command buffer, which is important because we basically have a command. That's what begin frame does. It's like we have like a global command buffer that we can put stuff on that will, that's what all the other kind of sub command buffers and everything flow into. So the problem I think with this would be the fact that, but how does it work in Donut though? That's what I don't get. Because we do, when we render here, we have this command list that we draw to. But then, how do we present that? How do we know that it's done on the GPU and that we can present it? That's what's a mystery to me at the moment. And I guess application base does like device manager stuff? No. It's got to, right? I'm just trying to find what, but this is a render part, so that's also kind of weird, you know. Oh, hang on. So the loop, the message loop is here in device manager. That's right. So that calls animate render present. Does this do anything specific with that stuff? So it does call begin frame. Yeah, which we know. Ah, this looks a bit different, no? What? That looks different to our begin frame. how begin frame just does that? It's weird. I mean, let me just see if it's basically the same. It's just, no, but they do have this, like, there's acquire semaphore index. This just does present semaphore. What the heck? And then what does that do? So we have, yeah. And then this has present semaphores. So they're actually different. This is so strange. How? Yeah, we don't even have acquire semaphores. We've just got, and we've got this weird barrier command list. Where did I pull this code from? Okay, so let's grab this instead. I don't know what on earth was going on there. We'll get rid of that stupid weirdo barrier. This with the I don't know where that came from. It doesn't really seem like it does anything. And then what I'll do is when we create swap chain, that's just bizarre. Oh, that's such a different. I don't understand why this is so different. Is it just a much newer version or much older version? Who knows? I guess I did start this like last year, so it's possible they changed it. Yeah, so this is more like it. But where does it create the present semaphores? That's what I kind of want to know. Oh, create swap chain. That is here. Yeah, so basically they've just got this here instead. And then destroy also has these acquire semaphores. And then, but yeah, the biggest difference is probably begin frame, which I guess I'll just replace with that. If anything, we'll just, and yeah, why does it have it returns a boolean, which is whether or not it was successful. I guess if it doesn't, then you don't run the rest of it. Well, sure, let's make it a bool. We might not use it though, at least not in the same way. And then if we look at present, that looks pretty much identical. What's your problem? Wonder if that will fix anything. Hey, fan of Cherno, thank you. 38 months. Appreciate the support. You've been around for ages. So this doesn't really help. Like, this doesn't really solve our problem, I don't think. Because I'm just wondering what on earth is supposed to happen with those, like the present semaphores. It's just usually like, yeah, usually you have to know when you finish. Well, what is it waiting on though, on the other hand? Because it is waiting on something before it presents, right? So set wait semaphore count, set wait semaphore, so it's this. It's basically waiting on this present semaphore, right? Am I reading that right? Okay, well, it's still a bit strange. It's still very strange, still not quite right. If we just go back to Vulkan swap chain. Then we had this like, yeah, image available semaphore. And we also had signal semaphore, render finish semaphores. So that's like, I guess the translation or what they've got is present semaphore is probably the render finish semaphore. And then image available semaphore is probably the acquire semaphore. So we've got the acquire and the present. But the problem is that usually, like, it seems like we submit these queues without any of these. And that's because, like, that, I guess that happens inside. So bizarre. I guess this happens inside ImGui renderer. Because we do this, right? But that just does, yeah, queue submit. Vulkan queue. Okay, so that's NVRHI stuff. Good. So yeah, look, there's wait semaphore values empty. So you can actually have these and set signal semaphores. So how do you... And that's just what? That's on the queue? How would you set them? I think maybe we need to set them. Yeah, it's probably this. So it's gonna signal the present semaphore saying this is done. Oh, wait. So, wait, so what is it saying here exactly? I guess you set that queue signal and eventually, yeah, it will set it here. So, I think, oh, but that's on the queue. Oh, okay, I kind of see this actually. But it just seems like it should be a wait semaphore though, right? So that's just gonna signal. Oh, but it is a wait semaphore. So actually, I think this is correct because it's basically just they do it on a global context. So they're basically saying for the graphics queue, when that's done, signal this semaphore, and the presentation queue is waiting for that semaphore. So that actually should be correct. And this is just waiting for... I mean, it's weird that it's here, but it's just waiting for that to be finished, I'm guessing. So that kind of makes sense. Can I update this? Because it is weird that we're not getting proper information from Insight. But anyway, it does seem pretty... that, because of their little global... But also, how many do we... Because that's just for the graphics queue to finish. Oh. What happened to my camera? Did it like overheat? It may have overheated. I'm glad I'll let the camera cool down a bit and then turn it back on. I'm gonna probably end the stream soon anyway. It's getting late. Almost 2 p.m. Could also try a render doc. There's that beautiful flashing. Yeah, like, check this out. It's just so... It's like it's doing nothing for, like, one of the frames. That doesn't make sense. I'm gonna try a render doc as well. Maybe that will tell us something that Insight won't. It's just so strange. It just does nothing. Okay, let's go back to the camera. It's just Hazelnut, the working directory. Waited 2 frames. Yeah, this looks much better. It's weird that Insight was so weird. Usually Insight's the stable one. Yeah, so this is all it's doing. It's a lot of draw calls. ImGui. So VKQ submit. So what the heck is it submitting here? And then it's doing ImGui, then it's doing another Q submit, and then it's presenting. It's a bit weird. it's like it's not doing anything. Oh, that is so strange, bro. That is so strange. Yeah, so that actually all happens on the render thread, interestingly. I wonder if that affects anything. Not really, probably. Because it will just do... block until render complete. And then get it done, I'm guessing. Because... yeah, so here it'll do app render ImGui, which will do ImGui layer begin, which is what does all this stuff. That's happening, yeah, one thing after the other. Then we do new frame, then we do, yeah, sure, begin frame. Then we go through and actually populate the data. I'm beginning to suspect this might just be an ImGui issue, like as in something's wrong with that rather than our swap chain. Yes, application. Then we do end, that does nothing. Then we do swap buffers. We do have this like current frame index. I wonder if that's used for anything. Get current frame index. Render or get current frame index. We do seem to use that a lot, but nowhere that we care about, I don't think. And that gets us our current buffer index, which is correct. It's just so simple that I'm just wondering what the problem could be. Probably something really stupid. Oh, well, you know what we could do though? We could do this. This is probably a bit stupid, but we could, like, because I just don't imagine this will be wrong. Like, we could just see, for example, if the command buffer size changes of ImGui, like if it's basically, I'm just curious if it's submitting the same draw data. Oh, what's that? Okay, we should have a look at that. Okay, yeah, they're all the same. I mean, it's also not flickering though. I'm trying to get it to flicker. Oh, it's just so weird. It's like it's all delayed and it is very strange. And it feels like sluggish. I mean, we are logging a lot. Let's stop logging that useless information. Where was that happening? I think Vulkan ImGui layer. No, not Vulkan ImGui layer. ImGui layer. Where are we logging that other thing? Inside swap chain. Inside window. Swap buffers. Yeah. I want to quickly look at that validation warning. That, I don't think that matters. Like, it's definitely not causing this, I don't think. This still feels like really slow though. Like, why is it? Like, is it running slowly? I mean, there's like, what, statistics? Yeah, that's not gonna work though. Because it's not gonna have render 2D or anything. Could just look at the frame time, I guess. What could it be? Oh my, I can't actually move that content browser for some reason. So I can't move this. Oh, here we go. Yeah, see, it's like 30 FPS, which is really weird. No, it probably doesn't do anything. It might think that's like a different viewport or something. That doesn't work, does it? So I can move that, but I can't dock this in anywhere. Very, very weird. Yeah, I don't know. We'll probably leave it here for today. Let's do a quick performance profiling session. I just want to see where that 30 milliseconds is going, like how it's being, what it's spending time on, because if I can see that it's spending time on like inside some kind of wait function, then we can see what's up, you know? I mean, it kind of seems a bit, well, kind of fast here, but on net, like, that's not, I guess I didn't really run it that long. Great. Wait and render. Render command queue. ImGui render. Yeah, it's not really. VK presents pretty quick. Like, it's not really waiting for anything. That's so strange. I don't know why, like, why is it running so slowly? And the thing is, it just feels like it's running really slowly. Oh look, I can right pick in the scene. That's funny. Mouse pick. It's all faded as well. I wonder if there's like a dialog box that's up that we're not seeing. Maybe, who knows? But just the performance is very strange. Oh wait, I can connect with Tracy, can't I? Where is that? Do I have Tracy somewhere? This is an old version probably. Okay, so this is kind of cool. So what's going on here? Wait and render is taking 30 milliseconds, and the time is being spent where we don't know where. Because render ImGui is taking 2.5 milliseconds, which is kind of slow. Oh, that's the CPU side building things. That is still pretty slow, but where's everything else going? So let's maybe profile it a little bit more. Or instrument it a little bit more. I'll just go to. Oh, this is so annoying. This keyboard is just dying, bro. I don't know why. It's very annoying. What do I have to do HZ profile funk? Probably. So let's make sure we do stuff like this, and I think it's Hazel debug profiler. We'll do here. I just want to know if it's like waiting for anything here, you know. That in there, didn't I? ImGui renderer. What else is important that we're doing? I mean, I'm surprised it's not in like editor layer. Oh, it is on ImGui render. Okay, well, whatever. We can add some more later. Oh, look, VK present. It is in VK present. So VK present is taking 30 milliseconds. What? How? Because it can't actually be taking that long to render on the GPU, so therefore it was present, right? Yeah. This function. So could it be like where is the question, you know? Oh, why did that not get picked up by Visual Studio's profiler? There's wait for event query, which I don't even know what that does. Let's start. Is there a way to add a name to this? Scope. Just do present KHR. This one we'll call wait event query. And then we'll do other event query. Wait event query. Wait event query. What the heck is that? So frames in flight is greater than or equal to max frames in flight for the device parameters. Then frames in flight front pop. Wait event. What? What the heck? What are these event query things? I have no idea what this is. Basically waiting for Vulkan fence. For why? Wait command list. Wait semaphores. Oh. So frames in flight should probably be like 3. Okay, yeah, we made it 2. But max frames in flight are in device parameters. So here it's 2, but we did make it. It was originally 3. Because Hazel usually has 3 frames in flight. So wait command list. Could this be happening then because we have VSync on? But why would it be? It doesn't make sense for it to be that long. I'm in here. Where do we create the window? Does that still happen in window? Create window device and swap chain actually. Oh yeah. think it sets the vsync property of it at all. I mean, there is this refresh rate. Parameter refresh rate. Yeah, what if it's like setting it somehow to like why would you set this? I mean, 0 probably means it would use whatever, but maybe that needs to be done after there's a context. Oh yeah, setting the swap chain present mode to immediate. Yeah, that is a good idea. I forgot about that. I'll try this as well though. Oh, does that not work in Vulkan? I thought GLW had something for that. Okay, in that case, yeah, to the swap chain we go. Which is where? In here. How, I just want to have a look at what Hazel used to do. Yeah, so first in, first out. And if facing the request, try to find mailbox mode. So let's see what NVRHI does. Yeah, so it's either that or immediate. And vsync enabled. Well, vsync seems to be false. Strangely. We can have a look at what it set it to. If vsync is enabled. That's odd. Okay, well let's turn it off and see what happens. But still weird again that it's, oh yeah, here it is. Oh, okay. Well, this definitely is more apparent, which is good. So weird though. I mean, the only thing I can think of is, in terms of difference, is probably the fact that it's just not waiting for it to finish. That's honestly got to be it. Like, what else could it be? Maybe I should see if that Let's quickly run it again. I just want to profile it, see what's happening. Okay, see now it's 1 millisecond. So somehow by having VSync on, it was dropping down to 30 milliseconds per frame, which is insane. Because now it's 1, which is around what I guess I would expect. So this looks better. But it's obviously flashing a lot more. Which, yeah, it's a little bit weird. So we might leave it there, but otherwise, because I don't really know what I would do next at this point, and we've got some other stuff to do today. Where am I? Yeah. I'm just a little bit suspicious of the fact that I'm just a little bit suspicious of how this semaphore waiting thing works, because I know that obviously to present we have to make sure that the graphics queue has been submitted and we wait for that semaphore, which kind of seems like that is what we do. But I'm also not sure, like, queue signal semaphore, like that, what signals this tells that it needs to be done. Like, that doesn't make sense. What does that do? It adds a signal semaphore, but it already got submitted, didn't it? Like, what does this refer to? The graphics queue? Because the ImGui work gets submitted into the graphics queue over here when we do execute command list inside ImGui, which happens a little bit earlier before this function. So that's there now. Shouldn't we have maybe told it to signal itself earlier? Like, would it be correct for me to first submit, you know, execute command list, which will submit the command list to the queue, and then afterwards, queue signal semaphore? Because that's just how they had it in Device Manager. I guess I can look at what else Donut was doing and whether or not they had any other like semaphores or whatever being signaled elsewhere, but it doesn't look like it. Like, it's just tied around this area here. Oh, there's also execute command lists. Wait, what's this? Oh, so you have to call this to actually signal the semaphore. See, that's what we had before. Ah, this kind of makes sense. This is what we had before, where remember they had a blank command buffer that you just run, and I guess that executes this. That didn't do anything though. Because this makes sense to me, because you're in the queue, but then you say you want this signaled, and then you submit, I guess, that to the queue. So now it will signal that semaphore, and then once that's done, it would have finished the prior work, and you're waiting for that semaphore, so therefore it'd be done. So that actually makes sense. I want to also quickly map out this swap chain index. So let's do this. Let's do core. We'll do trace. Acquired. Swap chain. This stupid C key. Image. And then we'll say then we'll do ImGui layer. I've basically already done this. But this is just a bit of a sanity check. So, oh, what? The heck? We don't render every frame. What? Are we somehow calling this stuff twice? Holy smokes, what is going on? Well, that's certainly a discovery. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is cooked. So application process events and window process events ended up calling animate render present on the device manager, which does, which also does that. So that's a big blunder. Let's maybe not do that. So once we were, so I was right. Once we were rendering with nothing, and once we were rendering with ImGui. It wasn't a swap chain thing. Oh, that's actually the worst. And there you go. And and the performance is Unreal, but not Unreal Engine. The performance is Hazel. That's excellent. Oh, I'm very happy that we discovered that. That's crazy. Try VSync. Sure. Where was that? Application or window? I think window. It's a bit all over the place at the moment because work in progress. I'm glad I did that sanity check. Okay, so this is, oh, this does feel slow now though. I want to say that's probably 30 FPS. Pause. No. Well, it's still wrong. Like, it's still around 2019. That's crazy. Because, it should be like 7 or something, because I'm on a 144 Hz monitor. So that's what? 6.9 milliseconds, like 7 milliseconds is what we should be at. But we're like 20 or whatever, and that doesn't make sense because if I turn VSync off, so something is definitely weird still. Like if we discard this, and I should just press reconnect, and then we have a look at this, like this is very fast, right? 1.6 milliseconds. You know, these are all extremely fast. 1.6, 1.5, 1.3. So for it to jump up to 20 with VSync on makes 0 sense. Oh, you know what? Unless that doesn't, something like this I feel like has happened before where because I was live stream, oh, it is. But it's not 30 FPS, is it? So here's the thing. I'm duplicating this monitor with an HDMI output because I've got a different stream PC. And I feel like that can change the refresh rate. But see, it says 60. Is that from the right? Yeah, this is the display, 1 and 3. So I think that had something to do with it, but it still says 60, which should be like 16 milliseconds, 17. 20 is a bit excessive. So it's still weird. Anyway, it does work though without it. I don't know why it's gray still and whatever, but this does look pretty good. You know, I guess these are nearest filtering, which is why they look weird. The image is a bit weird. But actually, well, I mean, I guess images work. It's hard to see. Yeah. Well, this is a bit weird, but you can see that those icons are loaded in. But they do look very weird. I think it's either something to do with MIPS or nearest filtering. The sampler might be weird. And then, yeah, this stuff works. Yeah, the colors are all weird. I thought initially it was something was faded, but it actually just looks like the colors are weird. So that is very strange. Yeah. Pretty cool. So that's gonna wrap it up for today. We did quite a lot of work, to be honest. We got it up and running. It's all smooth sailing from here, right? By the way, are you planning on sticking with the mutable swap chain format extensions? Can have images of different formats for the same swap chain image. Oh, I don't know. I haven't thought about that. No clue. And well, VSync did not work for me using Donut, but in my case, I was getting above the expected frame rate because of some Vulkan Windows shenanigans involving timeline settings. Yeah, right. So VSync in Donut, maybe VSync in Donut's just broken or whatever. Therefore, we have to work it out, but it's definitely not working correctly. All right, anyway, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the stream. Yeah, keep an eye on the Twitch schedule on my Twitch page because I'll keep updating that. That's the best place to know when I'm streaming next. And it's probably gonna be, I guess, next Monday and Wednesday, just like this week. So enjoy the rest of your week. See you guys later. Goodbye. Thanks for watching.